Good afternoon on what is a cool, bright and sunny day. It is Friday, October 28th. I've got a nice cup of tea. And a parcel to unbox. So, and this has come from drive-through because A, you can always tell by the sturdiness of the glue that I use on the packages. So inside what I've got here is Legacy of the Crystal Shard, an adventure for characters of 1st to 3rd level by R.A Salvatore, James Wyatt and Jeffrey Ludwig. And this is the Forgotten Realms in the Sundering, and I'm just going to check inside. Now the reason I'm going to check inside is because of this. Now, this is available on drive-through-rpg.com or the DM's Guild, and it is an adventure for Dungeons and Dragons, but it's an adventure for Dungeons and Dragons Next. Now, Dungeons and Dragons Next is that edition, or how can I put it, that 0.5 edition or that 0 edition kind of game which fell between Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition and Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. It was essentially the testbed for 5th edition. And I thought, I'll pick these up, see what they were like, because of course I've got an interest in, kind of the history of the game and role-playing in general, so I ordered it. Guess what I got? I got this, but the copy I got did not have this in it. It had instead a copy of the Dungeon Master's Guide for Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 2nd edition. So what I've got is what appear to be 2 copies of this book, but one of them is not at all for this version of the game or any other version of the game. So essentially this is playable with 3rd edition version 3.5, 4th edition and D&D Next. And evil stirs in Icewind Dale. People of Icewind Dale have long stood against the perils of the North. For most of these folk, the events that shook the region 100 years ago are now distant memories. But what is defeated was not destroyed. Now as evil forces converge on 10 towns, the people of the North face their greatest trial yet. Fortunately, they won't have to face it alone. Legacy of the Crystal Shard is a Dungeons & Dragons role-playing game adventure that can be played using the rules for 3rd edition, version 3.5, 4th edition and the D&D Next playtest. Monster and NPC stats needed to run the adventure for these editions can be downloaded for free from dungeonsanddragons.com/sundering. Play this adventure every Wednesday at D&D Encounters and help shape the future of the Forgotten Realms setting. So, this is the adventure that came out, or one of the adventures that came out in sort of like 20, when is this dated? 2013, so I'll probably review it next year, or basically this year by the time you see this video. It is it's a playtest, primarily released as a playtest for D&D Next, testbed for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, and also it was part of the Encounters program. The Encounters program ran throughout the history of period of Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition, and you could play scenarios that will run every week on a Wednesday night at your friendly local gaming store. So inside what we have got is we actually begin with running the event. Running the event, essentially the events program. Get to an introduction, explaining what's going on, and we've got a connection here to the Dungeons and Dragons other Encounters program. And it's interesting to note that not every adventure has been released for the Encounters program. I think that's a big shame. I think it would be great to see those come back, see those addressed. But in the meantime, this is the setting for the adventure. Let's try to see if I can get that the right way. Yeah, that's the right way. Essentially we get starting the scenario, arrival in Icewind Dale, where we get a turn for the worse, and I have to face Yetis at the gate. Well, it's the north. Going to be polar bears or Yetis or something. In this case, Yetis. So the player character is going to have to defend one of the Icewind Dale from a Yeti attack. And so quite a simple conclusion. We've got the basically stats all provided there. And that's just one simple encounter that gets started. And then we'd flip over. So what we've got is, it's going to be the same throughout. So you've got D&D Next. 4th edition Dungeons & Dragons and Dungeons & Dragons 3.5. So, you know, if you've not got this, if you're playing an older edition of Dungeons & Dragons, great. You know, this will do. This will, yeah. So I've got a bigger scale about what's happening before we get on to the next encounters. You know, evil stirs in Icewind Dale. So the thing is, what would happen is each week Wizards of the Coast would release a new encounters program, a lot of them in print, and it would be something like this with characters, stats, and everything you need to play. So that's the first one, and then we flip forward to the next one, so we've got the back of the previous one, and it's really just a collection of those encounters into one book. There we go. There's the next part. So it's very clearly delineated, very basic, cut apart, as it were. And here we've got a full sort of a bit more background to the setting and the adventure, and then preparing the adventure synopsis, coming events, setting everything up. I think basically for the campaign to come. Character hooks, and so on. We've even got more Yetis at the gate. That one drawing down. Encountering the tribe of we've got Wizard's Gambit and dealing with a tribe of elk. So not a lot sort of like says really here's what's going on, leaping off the page here. Entering the halls of black ice. Well, that can't be good. But no location map as such. We've got a dwarven valley. Hoping for some map soon. Not much in the way of illustration. And then we've got interlude, Southern Squall, and then the fall of the NPC of Bryn Shander. House from the north, act before we get into the black ice spreads. So I'm presuming what we've got a combination. They've just from the image there, we've got a combination of sort of like the undead and ice together. And then Act 2 is Deep Winter, where they face the pirates of Lancashire, and more, dealing with the fangs of the Frost Maiden. Act 3, Claw of Winter. And then we have a postlude at the melting. And no maps. I mean, there's no. I'm basically seeing there's no maps in here. Hopefully, there's some maps at the end. Continuing, got the campaign guide, Crystal Shards. So it's quite a solid book. You're getting a lot of adventure in here. A lot going on. Presentation of Icewind Dale, basically a reprint of this artwork from the front cover, going across through the sort of the sense of the wintry conditions, and breaking down sort of like we've got. Oh, that's nice. We've got a dragon's eye view of the locations that will be involved. Not that you're playing dragons, but that's helpful for the game master. Details of the 10 towns. Life, and I sort of like the change in kind of style there. So you've got a different colour page, just, you know, that really makes it stand out. You know, life off the lake and what's going on there. Background upon the 10 towns and their environs. Then we have a sort of like Bryn Shander, okay, and of course I'm thinking Bryn Shander, a person, it's a town, which shows how much I know, which isn't actually very much. Important NPCs. East Haven, so lots of background there. Caer Dinville. It's a nice little maps. These are going to be familiar, of course, because they've been used again and again, and redrawn over the years. Caer Koenig, for Forgotten Realms content. Forgotten Realms being the primary location for Dungeons and Dragons, default one, and we've got more details, like more locations like Goodmead and Dugan's Hole, accompanied by these nice sort of basically thumbnail maps. And then Targos, and Germaline, so on and more. And then we've actually got a better picture overview of the 10 towns there. So, and then more background for the source material. We've got the Reged tribes. Basically the Reged up on the glacier. We've got the Elk tribe map there. We've got their camp. Isingdurst lair. So they will be facing a dragon. The dwarves, and again, nice that change of colour there, the darker colour for highlighting aspects of the setting. So life in the echoing halls where the dwarves live. There's Dwarven Valley. Notable denizens of the valley. And Kelvin's Cairn, where there is the Verberg lair. The Black Ice Tower, Tower of the Ice Witch. I'm presuming that's the Ice Witch herself. And beyond what Icewind Dale, so we've got Sea of Moving Ice. And then dealing with the Arcane Brotherhood. And then we've got Legacy of the Crystal Shard, Encounters and Monster Stats. So it's very much it has the feel of almost like a part work. So we've got the D&D 3rd edition encounters starting here. I'm not going to show you all of these, it's just basically, there we go. And it's all a bit like that, heavy on the stats, backgrounds and details, notable NPCs, so on. And then we've got the actual proper stats there. More about the tribes. Hopefully there's some other stats in here as well. So this is they're doing it section by section. So here we've got the 4th edition sections. Basically it's going to be repeating material again, but with the 4th edition stats. So there we go. So flipping through that. Encounters, monster stats, D&D Next. So you don't actually, with this, you don't have to, it says you have to download them, you don't, they're in the back. Everything is complete. And so we've got all the repeated encounters and so on. We've got D&D Next stats. And here, these are simple enough that they are easy to understand. They're easy to adapt to the system of your choice. You can strip out the content you don't want, you can replace it and so on. So, as I say, if you wanted to, you can take this, you can run it using Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. You've got all the rules to run it on previous editions down back to 3rd edition 3.5, and then you could, take it further back if you wanted to do a bit of an adaptation work, probably a bit more adaptation work, and running things like an Astonishing Swordsman of Hyperborea if you wanted to, Old School Essentials. The choice is yours, and we're rounding it out with some maps. So, my comment on this is that this is a bit, it's a bit bitty, if you see what I mean, because it's really delivered in multiple parts, and it's been collected in one volume, which was never really its intended format, and that's fine. It's great to have it in print if you want to go and get it. You've got random encounters at the back. And more maps and so on. Battlefield encounters. But I mean, essentially, this is quite an adaptable campaign because you've got so much in which to draw from. In fact, this is so badly produced that you've got here a bit of a cut off there. You can just about see it, and then so you've got a bit of replication of content there as it's been cut off because of the format that's come across from the previous edition. So yeah, this is quite a flexible little book if you're looking for a campaign to adapt, because you've got so many different stats to work from. You can adapt it easily to the system of your choice, or revisit the game system of your choice. I know lots of people like 4th edition more than you should imagine, but anyway, this is Legacy of the Crystal Shard, a Dungeons and Dragons encounters program campaign published in 2013 and available for Dungeons and Dragons 3rd edition 3.5, Dungeons and Dragons 4th edition, and D&D Next, Dungeons and Dragons Next. So yeah, available on the DM's Guild. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook. If you have, please click on the like button down below, and of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, appreciate you taking the time to post those. In the meantime, thanks again for watching another unboxing in the Nook. If you want to be alerted to see more unboxings of the Nook, where you'll see me with a package containing a book or a game which I'll unbox and talk about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea, then please do hit that subscribe button down below. In the meantime, thanks again for watching. Back again soon with another one. Bye for now.